Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I am Mirza Mudassir, the Managing Director of Expert Trainers Academy. And at Expert Trainers Academy, we specialize in delivering professional safety certifications such as IOSH, OSHA, IRS. We have learners for diverse backgrounds, and the participants today who are joined, they are will to build their careers or upgrade their professional skills. In today's session, we will be giving you practical insights into ESG and help you understand how to apply it in the real world scenarios, like in the practical projects which you are undertaking, the construction sites or oil and gas projects or manufacturing plants. You can apply this ESG terminology in any of the domains. And also this will be an interactive session, so feel free to ask questions in the chat. So at the end of the session, we will have a question and answer session as well. So let us make this session productive and valuable for everyone. And from here on, I will hand over the mic to Mr. Zain, who is our lead HSE trainer. Yes, Zain, you can proceed with the topic.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. So good evening, everyone. Then this side. I hope my screen is visible. So I welcome you all in the certification course, which is ESG, Environment, Social and Governance, approved by IIRSM, International Institute of Risk and Safety Management. Prior to start the training, let me give you a brief insight of me. So I have a total experience of 8 years in various HSE and sustainability domains, followed by years of experience in HSE and sustainability training, as sir said. So as sir said, after the completion of this training course, you will be able to implement this certification in your respective industry vertical. So guys, this training course is divided into 9 modules, from module number 1 to module number 9, which is this training course is split into 3 days, today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. Today we'll module number 1, module number 2, module number 3. Module number 1 is the introduction to ESG. So module 1 number 1 is introduction to ESG and sustainability concept. We will try to understand all basic concept of ESG. What is environment? What is social? What is governance? What is sustainability concept? How ESG and sustainability are linked to each other? Similarities? What the difference? How sustainability prepare a ground for ESG? Once we are done with module 1, we'll start module 2. Coming from module 2, we'll try to understand the environmental dimension of ESG. What are the environment dimensions of ESG? How environmental KPIs are set? How environment indicators are used to should be set in our respective what are the carbon emissions, what is the greenhouse gas emission, how the environment dimension can be integrated to UN sustainability goals. Once we complete environment dimension of ESG, then we'll try to go through module number 3. Then we'll try to go to module number 3, which is social dimension of ESG. In module 3, we'll try to understand the social dimension of ESG, wherein we'll be discussing about various social implications of ESG, what are the internal and external stakeholder, how this internal and external stakeholder can affect the functioning or the KPIs set during an ESG or sustainability implementation in our organization. Okay, guys, moving on to the next slide. So module number 1, introduction to ESG and sustainability. Introduction to ESG. As we all know, ESG stands for Environment, Social, and Governance. ESG is a framework which is used to measure the responsibility of an organization in terms of environment protection, social responsibility, and ethical management. This is what we have discussed just now, guys. Point number 1, ESG represents a structural approach how to approach to evaluate how companies perform in environment, social, and governance. Guys, previously, when we want to benchmark an organization as an investor, we used to go through, or we can say we used to assess the financial condition of organization, what the loan organization have took, what the work organization is done, how the organization is paying back towards the bank, But when ESG concepts came into picture, the company started to benchmarking or to review environment, social, and governance working of the organization. Point number two, it help. It here refers to ESG. ESG help organizations identify risks related to climate, workforce practices, and management system. So previously, guys, before 2000, before coming into that, I would like to inform you about two type of risk in our industry. One is financial risk and other is non-financial risk. When I say about financial risk, guys, here the financial risk refers to the those risks which can affect company on a financial level. But when it comes to non-financial risk, when it comes to non-financial risk, this ESG came into picture. 99% of ESG risk, guys, are non-financial, but it has potential to turn around or to convert into a financial risk. When we go further into the training, we'll understand about this concept very clearly, guys. Now, point number two, ESG influence investor decision and company value in the global market. Yes, if we are not implementing ESG in a or in sustainability, effective sustainability in our organization, eventually the stakeholder or the investors' interest from the company could be reduced, which will lead to the effect of investment in the company, eventually which will lead to affecting the company standards or company value in the global market. Point number four, ESG support ethical behavior, transparency, and long-term business resilience. Here, ethical behavior means behaving the work, the attitude of the top management or the leadership towards the stakeholder. Here, the stakeholder could be internal as well as external, guys. Guys, I hope everyone is understanding what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah, it's very clear.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. So ESG support ethical behavior, transparency, and long-term business resilience. When we say ethical behavior, if in a देसी लैंग्वेज आई से हम कैसे अप्रोच करते हैं अपने वर्कर्स को या फिर हमारे स्टेक होल्डर्स को. These stakeholders could be internal as well as external, like vendor, nearby community, our workers. Transparency. When the top management produce a report, for example, it should be very transparent, be it sustainability report, be it the company company revenue report, which which in turn go towards a long-term business resilience. If we implement ESG in our organization, our business will be quite resistive, quite at a good position if for the future risk. Last but not the least point, guys, ESG help business profitability. Here, the profitability means it will be aligned. ESG help to align business profitability with sustainability and responsible business practices. If we implement ESG again, be it environment, be it social, be it governance in our organization, it will have a good rapport to the global market, and automatically we will implement good sustainability, good ethics, good behavior, good benchmarking of environment in our organization. Moving on to another slide, guys. Three pillars of ESG. As I said earlier, ESG stands for environment, social, and governance. So it's self clear that these three words are the three pillars of ESG. And these three pillars together contribute towards the environment and sustainability initiative of the organization. These pillars help organization to manage internal systems. Here, internal system could be also referred to internal stakeholder. When we go into pillar number two, which is social, then we'll be able to clearly understand what are the stakeholders. Now, coming to point number one, guys. Point number one refers to environmental pillar. So, the environmental pillar focus on climate change, energy efficiency, and pollution control. First thing, let's discuss about the climate change. Maybe directly or indirectly affects the climate. Let me give you a small example of a diesel generator. To operate a diesel generator, we require some amount of diesel, and this diesel will burn during the electricity generation process. This burning process will lead to emission of carbon in our environment, and in turn, it will affect the climate of the area of the periphery or of throughout the area. So this is one of the important pillars of environment. Will In upcoming slide we will be trying to understand deeply what is the climate change. Second is energy efficiency. So guys, instead of diesel engine, will convert to diesel engine to an electrical driven engine. So obviously we will be emit much lesser as compared to the diesel. I hope everyone is agree with this point. So here the point of energy efficiency takes place, or else we will be using renewable sources of energy in our organization. Again, the carbon emission will be reduced and will be energy efficiency will be upgraded. And third one is the pollution control. So if we focus on first two things, which is climate change and second is energy efficiency, then automatically it's automatic that we'll be taking care of pollution control because the GHG emission, carbon neutrality will be reduced from the process. Point number two, social pillar. Social pillar focus on employees' welfare, human right, and community engagement. So, guys, I'm anticipating that many of joint participants are from HSE background, and we are well aware of this thing, which is the employee welfare. Here, the employee welfare refers to the taking care of employees' health and safety in the organization, and it's self-explanatory. And I'm anticipating that we are implementing this thing. This employee welfare comes under the social pillar because we as a employee guys are the most important internal stakeholder in the organization. Our in The company's interest, or we can say our interest, employees interest should be the company interest within the defined range or within the defined limit. Second is the we are concerned towards the employee welfare, towards our internal stakeholder. At the same time, we have to be make sure that we are concerned towards the जो लोग हमारे पेरिफेरी एरिया के पास कम्युनिटी रहते हैं, बी इट अ विलेज, बी इट नियर बाय कम्युनिटी एरिया, तो वी हैव टू मेक श्योर कि उनके भी राइट्स देखा जाए, उनके भी राइट्स का इस्तेमाल किया जाए। उनको हम ऐसा ना हो कि इफ वी आर डिस्चार्जिंग एन केमिकल फ्रॉम ईटीपी और एसटीपी, आवर केमिकल शुड नॉट अफेक्ट देयर क्रॉप। उनके कमाई में हमारे कारण प्रॉब्लम नहीं होना चाहिए। थर्ड इज द कम्युनिटी engagement. Community engagement refers to CSR, which is corporate social responsibility of an organization. As an company, we have to make sure that we are engaged well enough with our community. We are engaged and we work towards the uplifting of the nearby community. This is a broader view of the social pillar. Third, third one is the governance pillar of ESG. Governance pillar focus on leadership, ethics, transparency, and compliance system. सो गाइस, गवर्नेंस रिफर्स टू द टॉप मैनेजमेंट, जो कंपनी के टॉप लेवल में बैठे रहते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल डायरेक्टर, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, चीफ फाइनेंशियल ऑफिसर, अदर इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स, जो कंपनी की हर पॉलिसी बनाते हैं, नॉट ओनली एचएससी बट आल्सो वेरियस पॉलिसीज रिलेटेड टू ईएसजी, ड्यू डिलिजेंस, विसल ब्लो पॉलिसी। So these are the governance pillar of an ESG. So governance pillar will focus more on leadership and how the leadership is transparent towards the organization. It should be not like अगर top management का leader किसी lower management में किसी को like कर रहा है, so he'll make him grow and other people will not grow financially or professionally. So it focus more on the governance pillar. In the governance pillar focus on the top management of the company. Third point is the compliance system. Because see guys, directly or we can say indirectly, top management is the one who are obligatory, who are accountable towards the compliance or non-compliance of an organization. If we as an organization are committed towards non-compliance to any of the activity, is the top so the top management is the one who 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 are accountable in front of the system. So in governance, in pillar number three, we'll be seeing the governance pillar of ESG. So these three pillars together provide a complete system of sustainable business practices, and integrating these three pillars in basically ESG help organization to build trust and long-term value. Again, guys, next thing is concept of sustainability in an organization. So, guys, many of us anticipated somehow that sustainability and ESG are same. But when we do ground work, or we are working on ground, or we are working on sustainability and ESG vertical, we'll somehow understand that no, sustainability and ESG both are two different things. These both things are not at all very same, or it is same at some time but differ at another time. So let me read the slide. Sustainability focus on meeting present need without affecting future generation. Sustainability ensure a balance between economic growth, environment protection, and social well-being. तो सस्टेनेबिलिटी फोकस करता है कि मेक श्योर करना अभी जो हमें जरूरत है, फॉर एग्जांपल ऑयल, हम इतना ऑयल ना ना यूज कर ले सो दैट फ्यूचर आने वाली जनरेशन को ऑयल ही ना मिले. तो सस्टेनेबिलिटी फोकस मोर टुवर्ड्स द फ्यूचर जनरेशन रिक्वायरमेंट. ऐसा ना हो कि हम आज इतना नॉन रिन्यूएबल सोर्सेज को खर्चा कर ले कि आगे जनरेशन के लिए कुछ बचे ही नहीं. That's why sustainability ensure balance between all of these things, like economic growth. इतना भी we have to not use that much oil and more be covalent towards the economic growth कि अब पूरा ऑयल ही खत्म हो जाए आने वाली जनरेशन के लिए. Environment protection and social well-being. Point number one, guys. Sustainability promotes a long-term conservation of natural resource and responsible decision making. Like I said earlier, नेचुरल रिसोर्स फॉर एग्जांपल हमारा ऑयल, उसको लॉन्ग टर्म हमें कंजर्व करके रखना है. और इतना रिस्पॉन्सिबल डिसीजन लेना है आज के रिसोर्सेज का यूज करने के लिए, सो दैट आगे वाली जनरेशन को मेक श्योर रहे कि हमारा प्रोडक्ट रहे उनके पास उनका चीज रहे. पॉइंट नंबर टू, it here refers to sustainability integrate environment protection with economic development and social welfare. Obviously, guys, if we are making sure the present need of the people does not affect the future generation needs, so automatic it will affect with the economic development and social well-being in a positive way. Point number three, guys. Organization shift from short-term profit focus to a long-term stakeholder impact. When we implement sustainability in our organization, the organization indirectly or indirectly avoid short-term profit. कम टाइम में ज्यादा प्रॉफिट के लिए नहीं सोचता कंपनी विल स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट लॉन्ग टर्म स्टेक होल्डर इम्पैक्ट. लाइक आई सेड अर्लियर, वी एज अ एम्प्लॉय और a nearby community are the stakeholder of the organization. इनके फायदे के बारे में कंपनी सोचेगा, हमारे फायदे के बारे में द कंपनी विल स्टार्ट टू थिंक. Point number four, responsible use of resource, reduce environment damage and social inequality. If we use responsibility, example of oil को हम अगर सही से यूज करेंगे तो जितना जरूरत है उतना अमाउंट पे, तो इवेंचुअली द इन्वायरमेंट डैमेज विल बी रिड्यूस. एंड अगर सबको इक्वली देंगे, इट विल बी नॉट लाइक द रिच क्लास ऑफ द सोसाइटी will use the oil in a large quantity, whereas the middle class of the society will use the less. अगर ऐसा नहीं होगा तो ऑटोमेटिक इट विल affect towards the social in a positive way, and social inequality avoid हो गया इस कारण. Point number five, guys. Sustainable practices help organization handle future environmental and economic risk. Future future economic risk क्या हो सकता है? If we use our natural resource again and again in limitless way, might be possible in future those resource can be deplete. और इवेंचुअली क्या होगा कि इकोनॉमिकली फाइनेंशियली हम वीक हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि हमारे पास वो रहेगा ही नहीं चीज. बिकॉज because we'll be not having because we'll be not having the thing. So sustainability focus more on meeting future economic risk and future environmental issues. I hope this is clear to everyone, guys. So again, guys, what we have gone through the environmental pillar overview. Environment dimension focus on how organization affect the environment and how they manage ecological risk. It include emission control, resource use, and sustainability practices. Let me go through the point one. Management focus on reducing greenhouse gas emission and climate risk. So here, greenhouse gas. Greenhouse, if we are susceptible towards the environment protection, will be eventually increase the greenhouse gas emission in our environment. Greenhouse gas consists of CH4, CO2, N2O, HFCs, PFCs, SFCs, NF3s. These are the greenhouse gas. On industrial level, we have hydrofluorocarbon, natural fluoride as a greenhouse gas. So if we are not taking care of the environment, eventually the greenhouse gas, if we are using diesel in our diesel generator, eventually the CO2 emission will be more in the environment, and if it will affect the environment, the greenhouse gas emission will be increased in our area, which will lead to the climate risk. Point number two, guys. Organizations are encouraged to use renewable energy and improve energy efficiency. If we implement an environmental pillar of the ESG, we will identify. The first thing is that we will identify. Okay, now we as a company are degrading using non-renewable sources of energy like crude oil, like petroleum product. Eventually, we'll try to shift towards the renewable energy. And once we shifted to renewable sources of energy, or will try to shift towards the renewable sources of energy, eventually it will improve the energy efficiency. And our in less amount of energy, we can do more amount of work. Our equipment can do more amount of work. This is what the point is trying to say. Point number three, waste management system help reduce pollution and environmental damage. If we are taking very if we are producing various waste, uh, for example like sealant oil or unused oil in our organization, and we are just try we are just try to bring it in the ground directly without any approved party or without any approved process, eventually it will damage the environment, it will damage land. So waste management system will is the important pillar of environment, which will, if we implement effectively, it will reduce the pollution and environment damage in our organization. Coming to point number four, responsible use of water and raw material supports sustainability. See, when we see on an industry scale, normally industry bring waters from some of the major sources. First thing is the ground. Another point is from the taking water from another organization. And third, obviously, from the industrial process, the chemicals are treated into water and use gardening or other processes. So if we responsibly use water in our organization, might be possible we will be not requiring groundwater, or the groundwater requirement could be reduced, so that and we can use water from our process only by refining, by refining our raw liquid or raw chemical from the organization, from ETP plant. So responsible use will always support the sustainability concept. I hope we understand the basic and basic similarity between these two things. If you have any doubt, you can just type here and we'll try to cater once we are at the end of the session, guys. So, guys, environmental benchmarking. Now, when we have deep dive into the environmental concept, we have deep dive into the environmental GHG, greenhouse gas emission. Then every organization needs to benchmark environment. They needs to benchmark environment in such a way that these benchmark can help organization to achieve environmental goals. These environmental benchmarking would be different for every organization. So let me read it first. Environment performance is measured using specific indicators and data. These benchmark helps organization track performance, and improve sustainability practices. So, in order to have an environmental benchmark, guys, first and foremost, for the most important thing is to identify the indicators. For every organization, the environmental indicators would be different. For example, a company which is into refinery might be possible the company would be having a flare system, a separator system, compressor. On the other side, if a company is into poultry feed or a corporate management consultancy, they will be not having a flare system. They sorry, they will be not having a flare system. They will be not having a compressor, most probably. So their benchmarking would be different, or their indicator would be different. The refinery would be more inclined towards the carbon footprint. So there are some of the indicators, guys. That indicators may vary from the organization to organization. First thing is the carbon footprint. Measurement of total greenhouse gas emissions from operation to track the climate change. If anybody wants to learn how to calculate carbon footprint, or how to calculate carbon neutrality in from the organization, do let us know. After the end of session, we'll take some time and I'll teach you how to calculate carbon footprint into the organization. Second is energy consumption. The purpose of energy consumption is to identify where energy is used and how it can be reduced to improve the efficiency. For let's see, for example, we are using a compressor system, or we are using a boiler in our organization. uh, Previously the boiler used coal, for let's say bituminous coal, for heating purpose. If we try to convert the boiler into an electrical boiler, eventually the energy consumption would be reduced compared to bituminous coal. Up over and above these guys, carbon footprint will be also decreased compared to coal operated boiler. So second indicator is the energy consumption. Third, and the important thing, which is common, which will be common in every organization, guys, is water usage. How much we are using water for our day-to-day activity in the organization. So water usage, the purpose of this indicator is to ensure, guys, responsible and sustainable management of water resource has been taken care. Fourth thing is the waste generation. The purpose of this thing, guys, is to help improve recycling process and reduce overall waste production. So, guys, previously, when the sustainability concept, or we can say ESG concept, have been really came into picture, we follow a linear process. The linear process include buy the raw material, make the product, and convert the raw material into a product. And once the product is used, just dispose them. But once the ESG thing came into picture, we start circular economy, of which you are mostly aware of, like reduce, reuse, recycle. So by waste generation, the purpose of this thing is very clear: to reduce the waste. Biodiversity assessment. So, guys, biodiversity assessment may vary from companies to companies, and may vary from nature of operations to nature of operations. Here, biodiversity assessment protect ecosystem and natural habitat by monitoring environmental impact. This study, basically, biodiversity study is the study of variety of living organisms or animals that are available in the specific area of your organization. This biodiversity assessment will help to support life and business uh, in hand to hand. Basically, it will connect sustainability and ecosystem in a very strategic way. And loss of biodiversity. Why this biodiversity is important? Because the loss of biodiversity can eventually, and a handedly can collapse the whole ecosystem in near the organization, guys. Coming to next slide, sustainable procurement. So we let me read it first. Procurement decision plays an important role in ESG performance, environment, social, and governance performance. Organization must select supplier who follow ethical and sustainable practices. So, guys, when we can say when we go into work with big MNCs company normally, prior to onboarding a supplier, they have a supplier registration form, and this supplier registration form needs to be get clear from ESG department and QHSE department. And the reason for this supplier assessment prior to registering a supplier is to make sure that the supplier is following a good ethics towards the work. Supplier is following sustainability in his work. Supplier is following good quality of good good quality of health, safety, and environment towards his work. So point number one, guys, supplier evaluation ensure compliance with environment and labor standard. Basically, the main aim of supplier, as I said earlier, is to make sure the supplier is compliance with the environment and labor practice standards. The labor standards in India, for example, is Factories Act. Various in international, there are ILO, International Labor Organization. So these things help help to understand the supplier compliance towards environment and labor standards. Point number two, preference to eco-friendly supplier reduce environmental impact. So guys, when you do let me take you some step backward again. We have discussed about the climate change and GHG emission. So when we carry out GHG emission, we have to also make sure that emissions from our supplier is also reduced, because directly or indirectly the supplier is working for us, and the emission of the supplier, we are somehow connected with the emissions from the supplier also. So we always prefer eco-friendly supplier as it will reduce the environmental impact in our work. Point number three, guys, ethical sourcing help eliminate child labor and unsafe work practices. If a supplier is using child labor or is using child labor or abusing workers or having an unsafe working practices in their organization, so eventually, if we onboard those type of supplier in our company, then somehow directly or we can say indirectly, if we are not aware or if we are aware, then we directly are promoting the child labor and unsafe working condition. Fourth point, supply training improves sustainability practices across the supply chain. So let me give you an example, guys. Recently, we had carried out a supplier sustainability training program where the supplier of an organization, we gather all of them and we make them aware how to reduce carbon emission in your organization, because these suppliers work for an organization, and if the supplier increase the emissions and the emissions, so directly the party which is the organization will also affect it. So the supplier training, companies carry out supplier trainings to make sure or to improve the sustainability practices across the supply chain. Point number five, last but not the least, guys, transparency procurement process ensure fairness and governance integrity. If the procurement process is not transparent, for example, if the purchase department is hiding something from us, be it the nature of work, be it the child labor, then eventually this will affect the governance integrity. It will affect the governance or vice versa. If leadership is aware that this supplier from which we are onboarding into the company is unethical towards his work practices, so the governance integrity will take place. So this thing supplier, so in this way, supplier procurement is very essential for us, guys. So let me just go through this point number one to five once again. First thing is supplier evaluation with respect to environment and labor. Second point is preferring eco-friendly supplier to reduce environmental impact. Third point, ethical sourcing from a supplier help eliminate child labor, first thing, and unsafe working condition. These are the major thing, guys. There are various minor thing also that will be automatically reduced. Point number four is the supply chaining with respect to sustainability. Here, sustainability will not only refers to carbon emission, but also various governance and social criteria also, guys. Point number five is a transparent procurement. Transparent procurement will always affect the governance integrity. This point number five will be discussing when we discuss when we go to the fourth pillar, when we will study the sorry, third pillar of ESG, which is the governance. Now, guys, green manufacturing. Let me read it first. Green manufacturing focus on reducing environmental impact through efficient process and clean technology. Green manufacturing helps improve sustainability in industrial operations. Many of the companies are trying to switch to green manufacturing, guys. For example, there are various examples, various points. Point number one, energy efficient technology help reduce emission and operational cost. So, guys, if I use electricity in my company and this electricity comes from a grid, normally grid, instead of using grid electricity, what if I purchase those electricity from a solar plant? Eventually, this will it will affect it will reduce the emissions as well as the operation cost when we see long term. And not only the industry, in our home, for example, instead of taking electricity from electricity board, if we start install if we install like solar panels in our home. Nowadays government is also giving subsidy for this. If we install panels in our home, it will reduce the emissions, and long term it will also optimize the cost. Point number two, use of renewable energy reduce dependency on fossil fuel. Because we know, guys, fossil fuel are the non-renewable sources of energy. Or if they'll take thousands and thousands of years to convert into the fossil fuel things. So, use of when we use renewable energy, our dependency on fossil fuel, or we can say non-renewable sources of energy, will be drastically reduced. Point number three, guys, waste reduction practices improve sustainability in production process. If we normally when we do sustainability audit, guys, in the on the company, we used to always focus on the ways through which waste can be reduced, because waste are something which will not use for the further process. So once we reduce waste in our organization, or we convert waste into other useful product in our organization, obviously the production process will optimize, followed by improve enhancement in sustainability. Point number four, guys, cleaner material reduce environmental pollution and health risk. If we use cleaner raw material, obviously the thing is it will affect environment in a positive way. Just take an example. There are different types of coals in our industry, like bituminous coal, luminous coal, and many more. If we use right amount of coal, good amount of coal, or if we avoid using this coal and use renewable sources of energy to produce the electricity, to produce the energy, the it will reduce the environment pollution, followed by a reduction in health risk of the people, of the stakeholders. These stakeholders could be internal, those stakeholders could be an external stakeholder. Point number five, guys, recycling systems support circular economy and resource efficiency. So uh, here concept of closed loop system, circular economy came into place, guys. So in this way, concept of circular economy came into place. Normally, for example, I've said earlier that there are two types of economies when we say one is the circular economy, or one is linear economy. Okay, someone is raising hand. Faisal, just a second. Faisal, you can just type your
Okay, sir, sure,
yes,
sir. I will type, sir.
yes,
Just
Faisal.
continue.
Go ahead, Faisal. So, guys, in this way, the concept of circular economic take place. As I said earlier, there were two type of approach previously. First one was the linear approach, where you take the raw material to convert it into the product, and once it will be on no use, you can just dig it into the land. But when circular economy, the concept of circular economy take place, then the concept at that time, the concept of this reduce, reuse, recycle, awareness towards this has been increased. So if we implement this circular economy in our system, so obviously the resource efficiency will be on a positive way, followed by enhancement of sustainability commitment of of the company. I hope this green manufacturing concept of green manufacturing everyone understand, because this thing is the most important thing when we say when we deep dive into the sustainability. So waste management strategy. Waste management help organization reduce environmental impact and improve efficiency. It include reducing waste, recycling waste, and safe disposal practice. So, guys, waste is something that needs to be managed in the organization, because when we go deep into the concept to the environment thing, will we understand there is emissions from the waste also. If your waste kept on the area for a long time, it will emit some amount of carbon, some amount of GHG gas, greenhouse gas. Not all the seven, but some of the gases. So it's very important, guys, to have a strategically waste management strategy. This waste management strategy could be safe disposal of waste, safe recycling of waste, which is the most preferred thing, and reducing waste into some of the other thing which may not affect the environment. Point number one, guys, reducing waste at the source help lower cost and environmental impact. From the source, guys, if you reduce the waste, then it will having less environmental impact. That's why we have ETP, we can say STP in our organization. The main aim of this thing is to make sure that waste are waste or waste disposal will not affect the environment. Number two, waste segregation, improve recycling efficiency and reduce contamination. So for example, guys, there are hazardous waste or non-hazardous waste. On the other hand, if we mix them, it will not, and when we try to recycle those waste together, it will be not that much efficient in the way if we will try to divide this hazardous and non-hazardous waste. Point number three, guys, hazardous waste control, protect workers and prevent pollution. This thing is the self-explanatory, guys. Key that if we control the hazardous waste, it will protect the workers, because workers will be not exposed to these type of hazardous waste, and eventually it will prevent the pollution. As we said earlier, there are types when waste is put down in the area for a long time, it will also emit greenhouse gas emissions. Not all the seven gas, but some of the gas. Recycle, convert waste into valuable resource. So fourth point is reuse and recycle, convert waste into valuable resource. This is one of the best thing, and this is one of the example of circular economy which we have discussed just now, where is trying to reuse the waste or recycle the waste will avoid the disposal of waste. Eventually, it will affect the environment in a positive way. Point number five, guys. Monitoring waste data helps improve performance and compliance. Normally, guys, when we monitor the waste data, we'll start monitor. If we don't monitor the waste data, we'll be not able to understand what type of waste, what is the amount of waste that we are disposing in the area. Our what amount of waste we are discussing in the in the in the area. Let's see if there are some chemical waste in the company. If we don't monitor these types of waste, eventually, guys, what will happen when we try to calculate the greenhouse gas emissions that has been emitted to the waste, or how much greenhouse gas emission has been reduced because we have converted this X amount of waste to another amount of waste, another amount, will be not able to identify. So this thing is the most important thing, monitoring waste data. And yes, obviously, it's self-explanatory that it will help to achieve the compliance towards the environmental compliance. Next thing is the energy efficiency management. As we discussed earlier, guys, with an example, if you guys are remember, If you guys remember, I've given you an example of a boiler, of a boiler, which is a coal-operated boiler. If we use electrical operated instead of coal operated, the efficiency of boiler will be increased. How it will be increased in the upcoming slide, we will try to understand. So energy efficiency help organization reduce energy consumption and improve sustainability. It involves monitoring technology use and employees awareness. These three things work towards the effective energy efficiency. When we say monitoring, what amount of coal, how amount of coal is used for the burning for the operation of the boiler. Technology, instead of coal, what type of fuel we can use, which is less susceptible, less harmful to the environment. Employee awareness, awareing employees is on the technologies that are in the place so that energy efficiency can be reduced. These are some of the small ways, or we can say small example. So first thing, guys, energy audit identify high energy consumption areas and improvement opportunity. When we carry out energy audit, guys, so the main aim of this energy audit is to, for example, using solar instead of some non-renewable sources of energy. For example, if there are pipes carrying steam water going, there are chances that heat from the pipe can be transmitted to the environment, can be convected to the environment. How we can protect the pipe, how we can coat the pipe so that environment could be protected. So energy audit identify these things. Point number two, efficient technologies help reduce electricity uses and emissions. So, guys, when we switch to renewable sources of energy, then the other sources of energy like electricity usage and we reduce the other sources of energy, eventually the emissions will be reduced. For example, when we use, like, for example, coal to generate the electricity, then the coal will produce heat and unburned carbon particle that will be exploited in the environment. And it will affect the climate, it will affect towards the climate change negatively, and emission will also be increased. So, and instead of coal, if we use efficient technology, then it will obviously, on a good way, it will affect sustainability in a positive way. Point number three, smart system provide real-time monitoring of energy usage. So guys, nowadays companies have started to monitor the energy usage in their company. Let me take you through an example. If there is a corporate, and inside the corporate office, after 6:30 in the evening, everyone leaves the company. But if this switch on the fan, switch on the ACs, switch on lights, on 1 day or 2 day, it will be a minimal cost to the company. But down the line, if the company will see for 1 year, 2 year, how much energy has been wasted, so it will be something that could affect the company. So nowadays, companies have started to do real-time monitoring of their energy usage. Point number four, guys. Employee awareness programs encourage responsible energy use. Again, guys, if employees are aware of responsible energy use, if employees are aware that they have to switch off the fan, switch off the light while leaving the company, or while they have done the meeting, then eventually on the longer term, be a, it will be have a positive impact, and it will lead towards the responsible energy usage. Continuous benchmarking ensure compliance and sustainability target. So guys, it's not like that we have to make sure that energy has been renewable source of energy, or energy has been used in a good way, and we have to stop there. No, guys. Once we have done this, this is the concept of sustainability, guys. But when we shift from sustainability to ESG, then the benchmarking concept comes into picture, where you have to understand how much carbon is being emitted due to the operation of light, operation of fan, operation of ACs, and how or in what way we can reduce this carbon emission in upcoming time. So guys, first we will try to complete this particular module because we are running out of time, and then we can have a discussion. We can have a technical discussion. We will be addressing your queries. Next is low carbon transition. So guys, as we all know, by 2050, the government is planned towards the carbon neutrality, towards net zero, wherein the carbon which states that carbon emission will be zero, will be net zero. There will be no carbon emission from the organization. But this is not a 1 day step or 1 year step or 5 year step. This is a transition plan that has to be implemented in the organization or a country level. So first thing, organization are low carbon operation to reduce emission and manage climate risk efficiently. That we have discussed earlier that now companies are shifting from by, for example, converting into or switching into renewable sources of energy, switching into alternative sources which produce less carbon towards the net zero. Point number one, guys. Carbon footprint measure help establish baseline emission level. Take you to the example of diesel generator again, guys. So when you use diesel generator in your organization, you basically emit the carbon, and your carbon footprint increase in the environment for due to the operation of diesel generator. When you measure in this way, the ESG came into picture. When you implement ESG, then you don't only have to shift towards the renewable source of energy. You have to understand you have emitted in the environment for the year, for example, for this financial year, and what amount of carbon you will be reducing in upcoming year. In this way, ESG came into picture. Point number two, renewable energy reduce resilience on the fossil fuel. When you use renewable sources of energy, your our dependency towards the fossil fuel will be decreased. Electrification of the process reduce emission operation. The same thing, guys. You're using electrical boiler instead of coal operated boiler. If we use this, our emission will be reduced. In upcoming slide or the end of the session, third day, we will be also will I'll take you through some of the calculations from to understand how the usage of different sources of energy will reduce will reduce the carbon emissions. Point number four, setting emission targets support global climate goals. So, as we all know, UN have their United Nations goals, and goal number 13 is towards the climate change. So, if we were towards the carbon transition, towards the carbon neutrality, it will directly support the UN climate change which is goal number 13. Point number five, transparent reporting improve investor confidence and compliance. Whenever an investor invests in the company, they will try to understand the reporting. They will be going through the reporting of the company. And if they find for example, ESG reporting is not right. This could be like if the company has reported that they are against the child labor, but they are using the child labor. They are working. They are making sure they are bringing child labor for their work. This transparent and on the report they have mentioned that they never support child labor. This type of reporting, which is not transparent, will confidence and obviously it will affect the compliance. Pollution control system, guys. So the pollution control system helps to protect environment, reducing harmful emission and contamination. Point number one, air emission control system reduce harmful gas released into the atmosphere that we have discussed previously, guys. Wastewater treatment prevent pollution of natural water bodies. Noise and vibration control protect workers and nearby community. As we know, the workers and nearby community are the stakeholders. Workers can be internal stakeholder and nearby community are the external stakeholder. So we have to make sure this type of thing, noise, vibration, will not affect the stakeholders altogether. Companies regularly carried out environmental impact assessment to identify the environment risk and the ways to reduce. In this way, regular audit ensure compliance with pollution control standards. Now, environmental planning, guys. So Environmental planning help organization to set goals and continuously improve their environmental performance. So point number how the environmental planning help organization when we say to set goals and continually improve performance, then we have to understand the benchmarking of the emissions, which we will be discussing in upcoming slide, guys. Number one, organization must define clear environmental objectives and targets. The company have to define how much amount of the emissions they have to reduce. For example, for previous financial year, the company have emitted, if an organization have emitted 10 units of carbon 10 units of 10 tons of carbon in the atmosphere. So for the next might be possible from next financial year it will not be zero, because there is a transition phase for the company that have to be go through. So we have to understand from there for next year how much target could be achieved. Instead of 10 tons of carbon emission, how it could be 8 tons, 7 tons. So in this way, objectives and targets are prepared. Implementing plan must include timeline and responsible department. Everything should be have a timeline and responsible department. Third thing, performance monitoring help track progress effectively. The company needs to see the progress, what is the progress, what is the emission for each day of the company, so that on a long term it could be reduced. And same thing needs to be reported also, reported and reviewed to help to make sure environmental strategies are into the place. Next thing is the is the climate risk assessment. So guys, we all have done risk assessment in our life. Normally, we have carried out health, safety, and environmental risk assessment. But when we say climate risk assessment, so as we know, climate risk can affect business operation, financial performance. That's why it's important for the organization to identify and manage these risks. Point number one, guys, physical risk include floods, storm, extreme weather event. When we do climate risk assessment, we have to make sure that these three things have been taken care. Second is the transition risk include regulatory change, climate policy. This is one of the major risks that companies face, especially nowadays. If there is any regulatory change, if there is any climate policies by the government, for example, recently the government has rolled out net zero policy. So this is one of the policy, and the companies knows in future the government can ask us to implement net zero. So they have to make sure the policies which government is rolling out needs to be taken care as a risk or as a way to implement. Point number three, climate risk impact supply chains and infrastructure. Uh, so if because of the climate change there is flood. So this flood will always will is a self-explanatory thing, guys, that this flood will impact the supply chain. But with supply chain, it can also affect the infrastructure of the company, of the organization, of the roads. So this thing has a two and four effect with each other. Point number four, risk assessment help organization plan mitigate the strategy. As we know, if we carry out, if we take climate as a risk, we'll be identifying the various things that can come into place as a climate risk, and what could be the mitigation strategy will be taken care. Point number five, integrating climate risk into the business planning involve resilience. On a long term, it will help the company to be resistive towards upcoming risk. If we have carried out an effective climate change, if we have carried out effective climate risk assessment. Now, circular economy. As I said earlier, previously there was as I said earlier, guys, previously there was a linear economy. But when sustainability concept came into picture or become serious, the circular economy came into place, which include reduce, repair, recycle, and regenerate. The aim of circular economy is to reduce the waste and pollution and keep material as long as possible. That's why circular economy consists of taking the product, making the product, reusing it, and recycling it. And if waste is generated, it's make sure that waste is waste is digged into a right way, waste is disposed in a right way. So circular economy focus on reducing waste and improving resource efficiency through reuse and recycle. Point number one, guys. Product design should support reuse, repair, and recycle. Or point number two, closed loop system reduce interdependency and raw material usage. Point number three, waste can be converted into useful resource. Every waste, for example, if I'm making a product by name A, and during the production there are X amount of waste. There are ways the waste can be converted into other forms of material, so that waste could be converted into a product which will be not degrade into the environment, but will help people to make to by using that. Followed by this, supplier collaboration support circular supply chains. Sustainable materials reduce environmental impact. There are eco-friendly material in the market, guys. If we are using those eco-friendly material, then for a longer term, it will reduce environmental impact. In upcoming slide, we'll be giving much more deeper example for all these five things, guys. So here we have completed the module 1 and 2, which is the introduction to ESG and sustainability and the environmental part of ESG. So if anybody has a question, they can raise hand. I'll unmute them.
How to
Yes.
calculate carbon footprint? You said you will discuss
Uh,
it.
how to
Yeah.
calculate carbon footprint? Okay, so sir,
Yes.
there are various ways to calculate carbon footprint. Like there is a protocol known as GHG protocol. When you search the name, you will understand how to calculate carbon footprint. While calculating carbon footprint, sir, you have to first of all identify what type of fuel is used for the material for the work. Let's take an example. I'll try to keep it very short. Let's take an example of diesel generator. When you use diesel generator, you use diesel. We use diesel as a fuel. The first thing we have identified, okay, diesel generator is a thing, diesel is a thing, the fuel which is used. Second, we have to identify the calorific value of the diesel. While identifying calorific value of the diesel, sir, it's not like we will go to the Google and we'll type the calorific value. So we have to go to IPCC. In IPCC, International Pollution Control System, they have the calorific value of the diesel generator. Then once we have identified calorific value of diesel generator, then we have to map the things. I'll try once we will finish the course, sir. I'll teach how to calculate carbon emissions. We have done various on-ground project.
Okay, sir.
And we have done various on-ground project for boiler for automobile industry. I'll take you to the slides. But if everyone is comfortable, I can just share those slides with everyone right now, or I can share those slides right now also, because I think the session is till 10:30, na? So guys, in the last job training, I have noted this. I'll take you through some of the emissions calculations which we have done on ground, and I'll try to make you understand how to do GHG emission calculations. So guys, the second pillar of ESG, which is the social dimension. So the second pillar, which is the social dimension of ESG. Let's go through this this module, guys. So the social dimension focus on how organization or how company manage relationship with employees, supplier, customer, communities. It ensure ethical practices, worker safety, and social responsibilities are taken care. So team friends, as I have said earlier, there are there are stakeholders for an organization, and there are and it is divided into two types: external and internal. The internal stakeholder could be employees, and the external stakeholder could be the community. And how we are treating our internal and external stakeholder affect how we are working towards the ESG or sustainability. And this thing is taken care by the vertical two of ESG, which is the social. So point number one, Organization must ensure employees' health, safety, and fair working condition at all time. Point number two, diversity, equity, and inclusion practices promote fairness and equal opportunity. If we uh, if we provide opportunity to each hierarchy of the people, be it middle, top, with irrespective of race, caste, belief, if we provide equal opportunity to everyone, and if we promote fairness among the every people, it's not like if I personally like someone or if someone is my favorite under me, I'll make him promote irrespective of he or she is working good or not. Point number three, respect for human right must be maintained across all supply chain activity. Human right is very crucial when we come to social and overall ESG, guys, that we have discussed in the previous slide. Point number four, community engagement help organization build strong and positive relationship with society. That's why this role of the various initiatives like CSR, or the organization where organization adopt people community all together and try to build them with respect to by educating them, by training them. So this thing will create a good bond between the company and the society, and it will uh, work towards the achievement of sustainability, or we can say altogether ESG. Point number five, guys. Strong social practice improve workforce engagement and long-term sustainability. Again, if company is taking care of their employee, their stakeholder, so the workforce engagement, the worker will engage towards the work, the worker will engage towards with the management in a positive way, which will affect a long-term which will affect positively towards the long-term sustainability. Okay,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Uh, let's be on topic again. Social performance indicator. Previously, we have gone through various environmental performance indicator, which include the emissions, which include the pollution, which include the towards the energy efficiency. Likewise, we have social performance indicators. These social performance indicator may be vary from company to company, but here are some of the common social performance indicator. Point number one is workforce engagement survey. The purpose of this to help the purpose of this to help understand employee satisfaction level and overall workplace culture. Point number two, injury frequency rate. This injury frequency rate measure workplace safety, performance, and identify accident trends. Third thing, gender pay gap analysis. This gender pay gap analysis, the purpose of this is to ensure fairness and equality in employee composition. Second last point, guys, community impact matrix. This community impact matrix evaluates social contribution and effectiveness of development program. Guys, this community impact matrix, in upcoming slide, we will be trying to understand materiality assessment. In those materiality assessment, we will be taking example of this social performance indicator only, guys, and we will map those things with the materiality assessment. So last but not the least is supply labor audit. As we gone through earlier, we discuss about sustainable procurement, wherein we understand why supplier audit is important. So here is the same thing. The purpose of supplier audit is to ensure ethical practices and compliance with human rights standards, diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. DEI ensure that all employees are treated fairly and equally, regardless of their background. It promotes positive and inclusive workplace environment. So, guys, if for example, if someone is some people are working under me, and if someone is my favorite or someone, and irrespective of the work, uh, I promote or I implement favorism over the work. It will it will affect bad towards the sustain. It will have bad impact towards the ESG, and it will not promote a positive working culture. That's why this social factor always promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. So let's go from point number one, guys. Recruitment strategy should promote equal opportunity for all groups, be it irrespective of any religion, race, caste, or the background or the belief. Recruitment strategies should be in such a way that equal opportunities should be provided to each and every group. Equal pay policy ensure fairness and reduce discrimination risk. Third point, leadership training improve awareness of diversity and inclusion. Point number four, performance system should be free from bias and support fair evaluation. This is the same example which I have given 2 to 3 times, that equal promotion should be given to each and every, with irrespective of uh, my relation with them, or my irrespective of he or she is my favorite employee. Irrespective of that, a performance system should be free from any bias. I should be unbiased towards them. I should be not biased towards them. Last point, transparent reporting improve trust, accountability in DEI. Normally you see ESG report, guys, of a company. There is a section diversity, equity, and inclusion. These things should be in line with on-ground reality. It should be not like that. My male is to female ratio is 5:1, and in my DEI, in my ESG report, I have said that my company's male is to female ratio is 3:5. So it is not transparent, and in long term, the investors will, when we do ESG audit on behalf of any investor, and this thing come to the picture in face of any to an investor, so investor trust would somehow compromise in that case. Again, community engagement. Organization plays an important role in supporting local community through development and social responsibility initiative. This social responsibility initiative includes CSR, adopting a village, training people. Let's go from the let's go from point to point, guys. Organization plays an important role in supporting local community through development and social responsibility initiative, which which is known as
Oh, without
CSR.
going forward.
Uh,
Dapat yun.
local employment program help
Oh,
improve.
nawat
Uh,
na.
Sir,
Mamaya,
can everyone
tayo.
mute their mic?
Nawat na. Nawat na.
Point number two, local employment program help improve economic growth in the community. If an organization is situated in a remote area, and the companies train the local people and hire them, it will have a positive impact towards the community, and the community will individually, it will also grow. Third point, education initiative supports skill development and learning opportunity, guys. Fourth point, infrastructure support improve community living standard. If on a good way we prepare a road for a community, if the company prepare a good road for the community, or company renovate the if an organization renovate the schools in the community, so it will help to upstand their level, upstand the community's level. Second last point, by guys, public consultation ensure that community concerns are addressed. Last but not the least, impact measurement help evaluate social benefit and outcome. So whatever the organization is doing, be it CSR, be it any training, be it any training or be it any upliftment program, there should be an impact matrix which include what work has been done for the community and how it has impacted. And this impact matrix help the company to understand and to evaluate how they have worked for the community and what else or can be done in the upcoming future. Stakeholder engagement. As I said earlier, stakeholders such as employees, investors, and community. These are people who will directly influence the ESG, environmental, social, and governance performance of their organization. So engaging with them improve decision making and trust, followed by enhancement of ESG. So there are various ways. Point number one, Investor consultation help to align sustainability priorities with financial goal. Point number two, community discussion help identify social concern and expectations. If we discuss with the community, like how normally companies discuss with the community on the ways they can uplift them, be it by training them, by providing them food, by providing them meal, by providing them medical services. So these discussion will help to identify the company's concern and what expectation they can expect from the company. Point number three, employee feedback, which is one of the most important thing, guys. And be it ESG vertical, be it QHSE vertical, employee feedback will always improve workplace policy and engagement. Four, supplier collaboration, improve ethical sourcing practice. Like previously, we have discussed on supplier QHSE screening, ESG screening. Uh, as I have given you example that we have carried out training for the suppliers. So in this way, there are this way includes supplier collaboration, and on a long term, it will help us to identify that the supplier from the supplier which we are importing is towards ethical is working ethically or not. Point number five, transparent communication build trust and accountability. Point five, we have discussed many times, guys, throughout the session. I hope point number five is clear to everyone. Human capital development. So investing in employee skill and development improve productivity and long-term business performance. This could be through many ways, like providing them training, providing them certification, um, or providing them free education. So in this way, on a long-term business performance will also be enhanced. And social work, social vertical could also be implemented. Or out of ESG, the social vertical, the second pillar will also be implemented effectively. Point number one, training program improve employee technical and ethical compliance. Point number two, leadership development support responsible decision making. Point number three, succession planning ensure continuity in leadership role. Point number four, employee well-being program. There are various employees well-being program, guys, like taking employees out for a dinner, for a leave, or giving employees paid leave if they have done a good amount of work, good quality of work. So employee welfare, wellness programs or employees welfare program, which is for the employer. This will eventually improve the productivity of employee and job satisfaction. Point number five, performance linked goals, improve accountability and motivation. We have various verticals in the company, guys, like production, process, HSC, mechanical, electrical, maintenance. So if we provide them goals and if we monitor those goals in the performance review, it will help them to work more efficiently and they will be motivated towards the work. Organization culture and ESG. So guys, in ESG, culture is one of the most important thing. For example, organization culture plays a major role in a successful ESG implementation. Strong leadership promotes sustainability values across the organization. Guys, if anyone has any doubt, we will once we complete this module. I guess there are some 3 to 4 slides only remaining. Once we complete this module, we'll try to understand the query and we'll discuss on this. So point number one, leadership behavior influence employee commitment towards sustainable goals, such as sustainability goal. If leadership top hierarchy is serious about the sustainability implementation, then obviously the lower level of hierarchy, the other level of hierarchy people are they will be also more motivated and commitment towards sustainable goal. Point number two, cross-functional team improve coordination and accountability. If, for example, I am HSC, if I'm carrying on internal audit for some finance department or some purchase department, this cross-border audits, cross-border collaboration, cross-functional collaboration On the longer term, it will improve the coordination and accountability. ESG goal, point number three. ESG goals should be included in performance evaluation system. If we want, if we want, if a company want to implement good ESG, a successful ESG in their work, so they can include, they can include the ESG in ESG vertical or ESG benchmarking in individual performance evaluation system. Point number four, open communication, two and four, improve transparency and stakeholder trust, which in when we say ISO, in language of ISO, it is the involvement, consultation and involvement of people. Point number five, continuous learning support improvement in sustainability practices. If we train people again and again on ESG, be it vendors, be it supplier, be it people, on a on a long way, it will improve sustainability practices. I've given you example, for example, for suppliers, which we have carried out training for on behalf of an organization on sustainability, specifically on climate change. So, guys, we have covered module 1, 2, and 3. Today we have covered these three module, guys. Module 1, module 2, module 3, which is the introduction to ESG and sustainability concept, environmental dimension of ESG, and social dimension of ESG. Now we can start discussing if anyone has any doubt.
Hello.
Yes.
Can possible to teach us also how to calculate the energy consumption, water usage, and waste generation?
Can you please repeat the question, sir?
Can you possible to teach us also how to calculate the energy consumption, water
Okay.
usage, and waste generation?
Okay. Okay. Let me share in screen. Let me share my screen. I'll teach you. Just a second.
Hello.
Just a second, sir. Just a second. Yeah, you have any query, sir? You have any doubt?
Just I would like to understand, sir, this carbon neutral and this
Sure,
net
sir.
zero.
So, sir, I'm sharing a document in the folder where I'll be showing some of the calculations which we have done. Once we will understand those calculations, we'll be able to understand what is carbon neutrality. So give me a minute. I'm sharing this slide in the desktop only so that everyone can see.
And also, sir, net zero
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
path for this scope 3.
Definitely. Definitely. So, sir, the scope, when we see about scope 1, 2, and 3, it will take time. And scope 3 is very indirect sources of emission. So, for to make sure everyone understand, first let me explain basis of how to calculate GHG emission. Then we'll be discussing on scope 1, 2, and 3.
Sir, actually, I'm interested into path for achieving a net zero of scope 3. So that's my interest.
Sure, sir. But there are people who wanted to understand the emissions, how to calculate. This is a basic thing
Yeah, no
prior to
problem. Zain
equipment.
take down his
Yes,
question
yes, yes. Yes.
and revert him in the group.
So, uh, I'll I'll try to make it very short. Whenever you do energy calculation, GHG emission calculation, we have to understand the tons of CO2, how much CO2 is being emitted. In order to understand the tons of CO2, we have to understand the emission factor. Each and every chemical, for example, diesel generator, anything, they have a different emission factor. When we say about electricity, and electricity have an emission factor of 0.8. With the 0.8, there are some sort of calculation through which we will multiply and identify how much tons of CO2 is being emitted. The answer, as you can see in my screen, CO2 tons of CO2 equivalent that has been emitted is 410.57 for the financial year. In this way, we calculate. This is what I was saying, sir. So whenever you do GHG emission calculation, first thing is to understand what type of fuel is used. Once you understand the fuel, Then second thing is to understand what type of the fuel has what type of energy inherent in those fuel. Third thing is to convert the emission of those fuel into the carbon equivalent, because when we burn a fuel, it can produce CO2, it can produce CH4, it can produce N2O. So, Ms. Anika, I guess we can wind up today's session.
Sure, sir. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you everyone for
you.
joining. Let's
Thank
meet
you.
tomorrow again.